G'day friends, my name is Elvis. Welcome back to the Friend and Machine Show. This is my little gaming news snack on the internet that I share with you all, so let's jump into it. Nintendo Switch has just announced that their best RPG is coming to the PC in 2 months. Now, remember the promising Diablo successor, Lost Ark and Lineage Eternal? Well, I'm going to give you guys an update on what's going on with these games. Now, I've also got a really cool old school Hotline Miami-like game, but in 2D Sega-style gameplay, and the best thing is, it's coming out tomorrow. And lastly, ex-Final Fantasy game director has a new RPG, and I guarantee you have not seen any game ever that is like this RPG before. Alright, let's jump into the episode. Now, if you do not own a Nintendo Switch, you most likely would have still seen the trailer for Octopath Traveler, just because of how awesome the game looks. Just because you do not own a Nintendo Switch, that's fine, because you and I will be able to play Octopath Travelers on PC in 2 months from now. So if you missed this game completely for whatever reason, it's a turn-based RPG from Square Enix in its classic Final Fantasy genre. Although it's not a part of the Final Fantasy franchise, it's its own thing, right? So this game has been reviewed so well with its gameplay and a story to back it up. Let's start with the biggest hook though. Octopath Traveler is genius in its visuals. I never attached that word to games. Here's why I did though. They managed to create, let's say, an old school Super Nintendo like Game Boy vibe, but also making it feel modern with what I interpreted as a theater style visual. It's almost like the heroes are paper cutouts from the first Final Fantasy games on a set with a camera set up recording it. Awesome JRPG sprite design and camera blur make this game's visuals outstanding. Seriously, think about how many JRPG Maker pixel graphic games that are out there right now. It's very hard to take a lot of these games seriously just because the genre overfloweth. Octopath Traveler achieved this simply by stylizing its art direction. It is honestly genius. Anyway, this is an official Square Enix game and is backed up by a 60-hour campaign of gameplay in the main storyline. Octopath Traveler hits the PC in 2 months from now. I'm super interested to know if you guys are going to buy and play this game. Okay, so the last new release today that I wanted to share with you is Katana ZERO. I won't spend long on this game just because it's not a game for everyone. You know, I've shared a lot of platformers which I do not tend to gravitate towards. This game looks cool though. It might just appeal to my nostalgia. I wanted to share Katana ZERO today because it's got some brutal mechanics, instant death, but also with this like really unique replay mechanic around like VHS and old tapes. If you're a younger person, basically how we consumed media back in the old days. The last feature though, which I think is really awesome, just because of how brutal Katana ZERO's death mechanic is, it's got this replay feature, again with the VHS and tape vibe. Basically, it replays how you died, giving you insight to where the enemies are and how to go about it on your next attempt. So it's got this awesome 80s video game retro soundtrack, but you know, early 90s style Sega-esque gameplay. The last thing I'll say about this is if this game came out when I was a kid, it would have been Golden Axe or Streets of Rage status. Looks pretty cool. Katana ZERO, it's coming out tomorrow, guys. So let me update you on Lost Ark and Lineage Eternal, or Project TL. I've got a video planned to go more in depth on what's happening with these games, if and when we can play them in the West, but I wanted to give you a quick update anyway. So let's start with Lost Ark. So Lost Ark has been officially released in Korea, and as you may or may not know, you can't play this game unless you have a Korean phone number and a personal ID, but Smilegate recently opened up the game to Russia, out of all places, and it gives us an insight into how flexible the studio is on releasing Lost Ark to the West. You know, its localization. We get an example on what we can expect. Well, yeah, they've planned up with mail.ru. Unfortunately, the reputation of this company is not crystal clear. I've even heard them referred to as the EA of Russia, so it's easy to imagine a microtransaction experience, pay for experience boosts, shit along those lines, which is the worst case scenario over here in the West anyway. So they seem to have shared the burden of localization as well, which ended up in some odd name translations. You know, with a game this big, getting simple things wrong like translations is really, really not a good sign. I'm not sure if the Russian distributors had to front with the money to handle this, or maybe it was just poorly executed by Smilegate. Either way, Lost Ark is in a super weird space. It just feels messy right now. When it comes to the West, it's like, do they get EA or Epic Games to localize the game for them and release it with, specific business model demands? Yuck. It just sounds yuck, guys. The way it's, Also, has it just been too long? Do gamers, even hardcore action RPG fans, even care anymore? Got Path of Exile still kicking goals. Yeah. Now let's talk about the deathly silence around Project TL or Lineage Eternal. To give you some perspective here, guys, I hope you're on the same page as me with this game. It was announced in 2011. Just let that sink in, right? That's when LMFAO dropped the Party Rock anthem song. Party Rock is in the house. Like, that shit's so old. It's so long ago. So moving forward, they announced the beta in 2016. This never happened. NCSoft then announced that they're going to reboot the game in 2017. Project TL has been in development through its different stages and reboots for 8 years. If any game being developed, excluding Blizzard Entertainment, took 8 years with nothing to show, all staff would be jobless and the studio would have 0 investors. It's clear to me that this game is either being grossly misguided, or what's most likely, in my opinion, the gaming industry as a whole, or more importantly, the technology, is moving faster than this game can be developed. Remember the full mobile support, the worldwide release, all these huge ideals? It's extremely confusing why this game has not been fully cancelled or had some press releases updating on what's going on with this game. And just like Lost Ark, the ARPG Diablo style genre it's in this weird middle space where it's not retro yet, but to move the genre forward, some huge innovations need to happen. Seriously, we've got Diablo Immortal coming out on mobile, we've got Path of Exile still doing cool things, Grim Dawn, Umbra, Last Epoch, and the Torchlight MMO. This sounds like a lot. These are the 6 most important games in the entire genre. Think about how many open world games there are. There's more than 6, guys, I can promise you that. What's your opinion here about this? So as you may or may not know, the 2020 Summer Olympics, copyrighted on YouTube, big games are being held in Tokyo next year. And the former Square Enix Final Fantasy developer, I'm gonna just brutalize this poor man's name, but I'm gonna have a crack anyway. Hajime Tabata has announced a new game in development, and it's by far the first video game with this concept I've ever heard of. It's called the Pegasus Dream Tour. Now, this will be a partnership with the International Paralympics Committee. Yeah, a Paralympics themed game. Okay, so 2 things going on here, and I'm not gonna hold back with my opinion on this. It's 2019. I'm not going to pretend the stigma around, differently abled people does not exist. We just haven't moved that far forward yet as a culture, which is really unfortunate. Here's the cookie cutter thing to say, right? This is a way to bring the issue into the public discussion. I hate this comment because if you're not in or around the real problems that follow with differently abled people, it's talked about way less than it should be. And let's just be honest here. When was the last time you and your mates were sitting around and were like, hey, let's talk about the differently able. Did you hear about that thing? This game will be treated as a game first by the public, and the Paralympic element second. So let's just hope that Hajime Tabata can create an awesome sports game. Try to recognize here, guys, this game might not be about you as a gamer or me, and more so about the younger and older generation having something they can play and know that the heroes in the game are just like them. This may not seem like a lot if you've got, little life experience, but things like this make a really big difference to a lot of people. So I swapped the story out with the new Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order game because I'm about to drop a fucking knowledge bomb on you guys. I believe conscious capitalism will be the biggest business trend in 2020 to 2030 in all sectors, not just gaming. I guarantee you will hear conscious capitalism mentioned a lot more over the next years. This is a game that is pursuing this path. Anyway, friends, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for the next episode.